Man, I was just in New Jersey. I didn't even hear that. I wasn't playing that. Playing attention. Playing attention. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going well.
Well, I'd just like to discuss what your points are. I'd just like to hear them.
Well, one, I don't think there's any evidence for atheism. Two, I think Christianity is objectively proven by the transcendental argument for God. And three, I think science requires a lot of the things that Christianity provides. And so, I mean, like, science to me is like a theistic concept.
For sure, for sure. Would you mind, expanding on the second point?
So we'd use a transcendental argument for God, a transcendental proof tries to prove a first principle. A first principle is like a foundational belief. And
Uh-huh.
so I prove God as like, I argue that God is ultimate. And the ultimate is like the most foundational thing in reality, I guess. Like it explains it's the thing that explains everything. And so I say that like since it's either going to be the case that like the mind of God explains facts, or the mind of man explains facts. That there'd be an absurdity to say like the mind of man explains facts, since that would make all facts like arbitrary, because it'd be just like what a human being decides is a fact. So unless the God's mind can objectively interpret reality, then there would be no like objective knowledge or objective truth.
For sure. What would you say is like the objective proof that like God is real? I guess. I don't,
That's what I just gave you. That like because of human biases, right? Our,
uh-huh.
like our culture, like, even your language informs how you think about reality, how you feel. There's like certain cultures in a funeral, they'll like cry, and then certain cultures at a funeral, everyone's like silent. So our culture will inform how we feel, think, and behave, and this creates like a filter upon reality.
Uh-huh.
And so what we're arguing is that the only way we can know reality apart from like a human filter or bias, know reality as it truly is in an objective sense, is if God, who isn't a human, reveals knowledge to us. To deny that knowledge would lead to an absurdity where all knowledge would be filtered through a human bias and thus be arbitrary.
For sure. What religion would you say you follow?
I'm a Christian.
Well, I guess using as your example where you said that, culture creates our biases and our views, do you think that if you grew up, let's say, in a more Muslim country, that you would have grown up Muslim, or do you think you
Um,
still would have found your way to Christianity?
I'm sure that if like I had Muslim parents, they would raise me Muslim. But
For
then
sure. For sure.
there's lots of people who there's a famous one. I can't remember her name. Uh, I could look it up real quick. She was raised Muslim and she became atheist.
Oh, oh shit. All right. Well, I mean, I just wanted to hear your opinions on the matter.
Oh,
Thanks
her name
for.
is Percy. Percy. Okay, sure. But she was raised Muslim. Just here real quick. She became atheist and she became like a famous like pop atheist, like kind of like Sam Harris. And she was doing like
Uh,
debates publicly. and arguing for atheism. And she
Uh-huh.
said whenever she did a debate in like a Muslim audience, she would receive essentially like threats of violence, right?
Yeah.
And she said whenever she did debates in like a Christian setting, she received a lot of love and grace from people. And she became a Christian.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow. Well, for sure, for sure. All right, well, I just wanted to hear your opinions on the matter. I was
Yeah,
just a little confused from the sign. Thank you for your time.
yeah, you're welcome.
Have a good one, man.
You too. I wish you well. Yeah, it's up to, wow, did it, what? I was trying to add people. I'm welcome. Fenton. This is a bad. What is with this name, dude?
Hey, now there's a story behind it. Okay, if you want to hear, just
I don't
ask.
think it doesn't. This isn't very TikTok friendly, sir.
No, it's okay. It
No,
doesn't matter. It's just there's a story behind it. So,
no. Well, let's not talk about it. So, what would you like to say?
um, I just wanted to say that I believe Donald J. Trump is the real Jesus Christ.
Exactly. I could tell you were a serious person by your name. That is not okay. He doesn't even take himself serious. Yeah, a lot of these non-believers aren't very serious. Oh, Slurms, I sent you messages. Didn't you think I wrecked J Mike, or am I crazy? Because like I feel like I owned him super hard there, like super hard. I debunked his little God is evil bullshit. I even like see I took notes about this shit. Reasons God can't be evil. God is ultimate, so nothing but God could explain good and evil. God being the standard would contradict to say he is evil, since evil is missing the mark. Evil is dependent on a standard, so evil can't be ultimate, right? The ultimate is perfect, evil is considered an imperfection. Think of a perfectly clean mirror that reflects light. The mirror represents God's nature, the light represents goodness. If the mirror is ultimate, it cannot be cracked, dirty, or flawed. Otherwise, it wouldn't be ultimate. Similarly, God cannot be evil because that would introduce imperfection into his nature, making him less than ultimate. If God is evil, then the good would be unexplained. An ultimate God cannot be evil because evil represents imperfection and dependence, which contradict the very idea of being ultimate. Instead, God as ultimate explains the existence of good and serves as its perfect foundation. Bam. And what he just got mad. I'm yapping. They always do this shit. Like, how do you know God didn't lie? How do you know God didn't lie? I thought I wrecked Jim, and then it seemed like he was really pissed. And he goes, "What's your argument for premise one of the tag?" And I'm like, "Well, premise one of the tag is that like God's ultimate, and so the ultimate would it'd be like a self authenticating premise because the ultimate is self authenticating. So like for one, when your question's loaded because you're saying arguments are possible without reference to God, which I disagree with, right? So that's a contentious point. And he's saying that like he's asking me basically to use something outside my ultimate to verify the ultimate, which is kind of like non. It's like a incoherent. It's like, can God create a rock so heavy he can't lift it? He's basically it's like a more sophisticated version of God. Can God create a rock so heavy he can't lift it? He's asking me to take like, because in the argument, the first premise of tag is saying that all states of affairs are created by God. And the fact that they're created by God reveals, affairs are evidence that all states of affairs are created. So his question's like technically incoherent. See these Philbro sophists, they keep going, they can't defend premise one of the tag. It's a sophist, it's oh, hey Darth. I just had an interaction with J Mike where parakeets breakdown of when they ask us to defend premise one of tag, where parakeet said that that's like a loaded question because they're assuming one, that arguments are possible without reference to God. They are. Yeah, I just talked to J Mike. It was hilarious. He got pissed.
Yeah, he's a warped human being.
So he did the whole like, what's your defense? What's your argument for premise one, right? And so I did. Remember we went over this with Parakeet.
Premise one, it's self-attesting.
That's what I told him. We went over this with Parakeet. I said, so for one, premise one of tag contains that which I'm arguing for an ultimate, right? And so the ultimate is going to be self-authenticating. And when you ask me for an argument for premise one of tag, you're basically saying that arguments are possible without reference to God.
All we're just simply saying is intelligibility would require a prerequisite of that which is a single, concrete, ultimate causal principle, who also has the additional properties of, and then we list the properties of God. Okay, and those properties would be sufficient, necessary and sufficient to effectuate.
No, I argued it fine. I said everything correct, but I'm saying, like, remember when Parakeet, he says when they ask us to defend premise one, it's a loaded question because they're assuming like arguments are possible without reference to God, and since premise one contains a self-authenticating ultimate, they're asking us to use something outside the ultimate to verify the ultimate. So it's kind of like a more
Parakeet does superb analysis.
He does.
I can't tell you how many times we have had conversations in the private.
It was so helpful versus J Mike.
Yeah. So if you ever have any questions about you want what you're thinking or saying critiqued, go to Parakeet because I can't tell you how helpful he has been to me in critiquing the things that I've said.
When they ask for a defense of premise one of tag, it's kind of like a more sophisticated version of can God create a rock so heavy? Because it's basically it's like an incoherent. They're saying like, because premise one is saying all states of affairs are created states of affairs, and they're saying like, well, what are the use uncreated states of affairs to justify that all states of affairs are created states of affairs? Is kind of what they're saying there. So
yeah,
it's like incoherent to say that.
So basically, when they ask for an argument for it, what they're just saying is it's not as self-attesting to the fact that one or more of its properties would be necessary, without which there could be intelligibility.
Right. And then, so after I schooled him on that, of course he dodged, right? Like
that's their trade craft.
So then he wants to go on to like, well, how do you know God's not lying, right? And so I said, well, if God's, which is that's a white belt, that's low tier to even ask that.
If
God, see, evil is dependent, right, on a standard. So how could the ultimate be evil? Because the ultimate is the standard. So that's a contradiction, right?
Look, we could ask the same thing, okay?
Yeah.
If you do not accept that God is and that his revelatory actions of him are always truth revealing, okay, that would be similar to you thinking, how do you know that your cognition and your sense perception have any basic reliability?
So he thought he had this checkmate. He's like, how do you know God's not lying? And I said, well, an ultimate God cannot be evil because evil represents imperfection and dependence, which contradict the very idea of being ultimate. Instead, God is ultimate explains God as ultimate, explains the existence of good, and serves as its perfect foundation. And he got pissed.
Well,
He got pissed.
well, we could say the same thing is notice that they don't ask the same. Basically, it's just a morph of the Cartesian demon, right?
Exactly. It's just a
So,
self-defeating
well,
worldview.
well, we could simply ask the same question, which they refuse and will not ask themselves. How do you know that the world, in terms of its fundamental presentation to you, to your senses, is accurately
Well,
communicating to you
but
what the
that's
world
kind
is?
of he did kind of qualify it by saying like no one can defeat skepticism, and then he goes, "How do you know God's not lying to you?" So he prefaced it by
Hold on a
yielding
second.
that.
Hey, Inky Crow, we don't allow trolling in the text. So if you troll again, I'm gonna mute or block your account. Okay? Stop with the trolling. Okay?
Anyways, it was pretty fun to really stick it to him. Like I have to thank Parakeet.
Look, the guy's an asshat.
Oh, of course he is, but it's like he's a big motor mouth. Philo, what are they?
He's one
Babble.
of these people who has a grossly inflated opinion of his own intellect and his
Yeah, but
own
he does
debate
the
prowess.
babble thing where he just like
Yeah,
he reads some like entry on Wikipedia and then he
yeah,
repeats it on the
yeah,
internet or
yeah,
something.
yeah. It's philosobabble gymnastics. Welcome, Polar. Do you accept God as your creator?
So I believe that like there might be like
Are you an adult?
yeah, I'm 18.
When were you born?
2006, November 19th.
No way. There's no way this is an adult. Are you female or male?
I'm female.
Okay, never mind. All right.
All right, yeah. Sometimes females sound like teenage boys.
Okay, so
I
like
hope I don't get suspended from TikTok for saying that.
I believe that there like might be like an overreaching power, but like I just wanna like how is you so
I didn't hear an answer to my question.
oh what was your question? Sorry.
Do you accept God as your creator?
Uh Not really. I'm more of like
Okay.
agnostic.
Okay. Okay. Good. See. Here we have an 18-year-old person here who's giving a straightforward answer, right? And you made me happy. You just give me a straight. I don't agree with you, but I mean, P. Marsh, what is it with all these clowns and asshats out there? They come on your stream, my stream. I ask them a simple question, and I get these evasive answers. And this 18-year-old person here, they could just answer right out of the gate. Simple, right?
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just don't. I very much agree with your second claim. That's like Christianity is objectively proven.
Okay, that's understandable if you haven't been acquainted with the defense of it. Okay, so do you know why we say that?
No, I just feel like there's a ton of other religions that say the same things, and
No.
Name me one. Okay, listen carefully. Okay, name me one other religion that has the identical basic attribute set of the God of the Bible.
Like the
what do you mean
Trinity.
by that? Like the same, like
Like the Trinity. Like no other religion's gonna have like a Trinity, right?
Yeah, there is. Okay, there is no other model of reality, religion in the past, present, or could be in the future that would have the identical attribute set of the God of the Bible. Because if it did, it would be the God of the Bible. So you're mistaken that there are other worldviews that could have the necessary and sufficient property set to carry out actuality, truth, reason, and intelligibility.
okay, yeah,
Go ahead. Oh, what happened? They drop?
Yeah, I think that was probably they didn't probably understand what you were saying, and they.
Hold on. Host, excuse me, SC, you need to come up. I'm going to mute. You're going to be muted. You need to back up. Okay. You're muted, SC. You're muted, SC, until you come up and back up your accusation that I lied. Go ahead, Mark.
It looks like he's not really connecting.
All right, right, we'll just drop them down.
That's weird. I think sometimes there's like a glitch where they leave, but they're still in the queue. So then when you're trying to connect them, they just stay in like disconnection. What did Trevor do? Was he doxing you?
Um, he was giving out what he thought was my personal information.
Or like thinking, yeah, attempting. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if that's Darth. I've never like asked him because I'm like not a weirdo. I don't care. Oh look, it's
You know,
Mike.
these
I have Mike
people,
Burgandy's in the chat. Hey Mike, do you want to come up and defend atheism?
no, don't bring him up here. He's a crazy SOB.
Hi.
Welcome. Do you accept God as your creator?
No,
Is that a no?
I don't accept the claim that God is my creator.
Okay. Is it your position that God does not exist, or you just you suspend judgment?
I lack a belief in God.
That's not a clear. That's a completely ambiguous response. Do you deny God's existence?
No.
Okay. And you don't affirm God's existence?
Yes.
Okay. So then you are claiming to suspend judgment. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, upon analysis, that will be shown to be false. Okay. Do you accept, acknowledge, affirm, and assert right now the necessity of God for all things?
No.
Okay. So you have now affirmed you have now affirmed that God is not necessary. Are we clear?
I haven't affirmed that he's not necessary. I've
So,
affirmed that.
sir, not accepting the necessity of God, okay, is asserting that God is not necessary. Either, either you're operating off the principle that when you speak propositions about the world, they will be either with reference to the necessity of God or without. It's A or not A. So when you assert propositions, are they asserted without referencing the necessity of God?
Yes, usually.
Okay, well, that constitutes the indirect denial of God. So, in spite of the fact that you're claiming that you're neutral or agnostic or you lack belief, you in actuality deny God while invoking verbal camouflage that you're not denying God, but you are denying God. Do you want to give me a rebuttal to my analysis?
Sure. Um,
Oh, I can't wait to hear
so
this.
so from what I hear, you're saying that a rejection of the claim of the God
No, I
that
want
you
to hear
believe in,
I don't want to hear a question. I want to hear your rebuttal.
that's my rebuttal. A rejection of a
No,
claim is
no,
not
no,
saying that
no,
the
no,
claim
no,
is
no,
true or
no,
not
no,
true.
no, 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 no. Asking me questions is not a rebuttal. Give me your rebuttal to my analysis.
A rejection of your claim is not saying that something is true or not true. I'm just
Of
rejecting your claim.
yeah, okay. No, you're just you see what you're doing is the fallacy of what we call a hasty generalization. We're not just talking about any state of affairs. We're talking about God being the ultimacy of reality. So when we speak about propositions, in the concept of God, God will either be conceptualized and acknowledged as the necessary precondition of all things or not. Another way of expressing the same thing is that propositions will either be invoked with reference to the necessity of God or without referencing the necessity of God. So, very simple question. When you invoke propositions, do you do so without referencing the necessity of God?
So that's a kind of a loaded question.
No, it's not a loaded question. I'm about to kick you out of here if you pull that same sleazy maneuver that many people. What is the objectionable premise?
The exceptional premise is that either I reject claims with God or reject claims and I
You're not
accept
making
claims without
yourself.
God.
You're not even making yourself clear. You don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, a loaded question is a question that contains either an explicit or an implicit premise that will be objectionable to the questionee. What is the implicit objectionable premise when I say, do you assert propositions with reference to the necessity of God or without? What is the objectionable premise?
Without reference to the necessity of God,
Why?
you're inserting
How is
God
that?
into the premise
How is that objectionable?
because I don't need to reference something that doesn't need to be inherently
Yeah,
valued.
yeah, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're rambling right now, literally the way a teenager would at the cafeteria table. Are your
Ad
propositions?
hominem.
Listen carefully. No, that's not an ad hominem.
It
Learn
is an
what.
ad hominem.
All right, listen to me. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, this is embarrassing given your age. An ad hominem in
There it
debate.
is again, an ad hominem.
Please do not interrupt me if you're fucking 30 years old.
And
Okay, if you're
swear.
15 years old, I would understand. Now, learn what an ad hominem is in philosophy and debate. An ad hominem is not a criticism. An ad hominem is not an insult. An ad hominem attack in philosophy and logic is that your reasoning followed by your conclusions are wrong because you're ugly or you're a slob. Okay, that's an ad hominem, saying that your logic is faulty because of some character flaw.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll go with that.
giving you a criticism and or an insult is not an ad hominem. Okay, now when you invoke propositions, simple question: when you invoke propositions, do you do so without referencing the necessity of God?
I don't believe in the necessity of God, so
That's
yes.
not an answer. Okay, so you do invoke propositions without referencing the necessity of God.
Because usually there's no need for it.
Okay,
If the only conversations
okay,
I
so
have is
now
with Christians where the
so
necessity is
now
needed.
so now I've caught you in a flat out contradiction. Okay, because you just answered the question that you are invoking propositions without referencing the necessity of God. My initial question was, do you invoke propositions with or without referencing the necessity of God? Your knee jerk reaction was, that's a loaded question.
Because
Okay.
it is. I mean,
Okay,
if we're going
dude, I'm going to remove you in about 2 seconds because you're completely inept. There's no objectionable premise. All I'm asking you is it A or not A? If you have a third alternative, okay, right?
Yeah, I
What you
do have a
should
third
say,
alternative.
listen to me carefully. Repeat to me succinctly, what is a loaded question?
So what you're saying is an either or fallacy. It's either God or no God.
Sir, okay, listen to me.
I
I
don't
am,
know if
you
there's
know
a
what?
God.
My assessment of you is correct. You are dumb, okay? Because a
It's an
loaded
either or
question,
fallacy.
okay, listen, so now you're changing your tune. Now, listen, you know what your problem in the conversation so far? In addition to that, you're not educated on the subject, you're not even focusing on what I'm saying and presenting to you. I just asked you a question to explain to me how it's a loaded question. Now what you've done is you baited and switched from it being a loaded question to it's a black and white fallacy. Okay? That it's a false dichotomy. Okay? So do you see the bait and switch that you just did?
But is it
Look,
a bait and
dude,
switch?
if you ignore one more thing that I'm saying to you, I'm going to kick you. I'm asking you reasonable questions based upon your responses to me. Ignoring what I am saying to you or questions asking to you is out and out cheating. It is the equivalent of socially going into a bank and doing a holdup. Okay? You're cheating. Okay? Now, a loaded question has an objectionable premise, either explicit or implicit. Something is not a loaded question if it is a false dichotomy. Okay? Is there a clear demarcation and distinction between a loaded question and a false dichotomy?
I do believe so. There's a false demarcation.
So you've shot yourself in the foot. There's no objectionable premise contained implicitly when I say, when you speak, do you reference the necessity of God or not? There's no objectionable premise. If somebody said to you, have you stopped beating your wife? The objectionable premise is that you are already guilty or have been guilty of domestic violence. There's no objectionable premise in the question. When you invoke propositions, do you reference the necessity of God, or are you without invoking that? There's no objectionable premise. Are we clear?
The objectionable premise that I would say is the assumption that I believe there is no God, and I've never said that. I
Okay,
said I do not
dude. I'm
believe in
gonna
a God.
look. I'm gonna let you go, and I'm sorry to say this. You're not intellectually capable of having this conversation.
I'm
You are
being
totally
actually
goodbye,
honest.
goodbye. You're done. You are. You. I have to be careful what I say so I don't get suspended. But you're completely uneducated and incapable of carrying on this conversation. And the reason why I ask you how old you are is because when I have young males here who are 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, right? Their ineptness, okay, and their inability to exercise basic focus and critical thinking skills is due to their lack of neurological and mental development. But you're a 30-year-old man, okay? I mean, I don't want to sound so harsh and stringent, but you're going to come up here and you're going to say the stupidest, dumbass stuff, and you're going to engage in cheating, where you go from saying I'm committing a loaded question to it's a false dichotomy. You would have been better off not making the stupid false charge that it's a loaded question and saying it's a false dichotomy. It's not a false dichotomy, but I am presenting you a dichotomy. You would have to show that there's a third alternative when a dichotomous question is asked.
Yeah, I've had.
Hey, Abs, don't confuse the fact that I get indignant with people who come up here and are blatantly checking their brain at the door, being argumentative, bickering, all right, and are cheating and lying. Okay? Look how Jesus treated the Pharisees publicly with their public lies and their verbal cheating tactics. Jesus said far worse things than I did publicly to these people.
Yeah, I had to today again. One of these people that what is that they quote? They quote. I can't remember that passage about like let your words be gracious or something like that.
Well, yeah, it means if somebody they're disagreeing in good faith,
Yeah.
right? We should be patient and gracious with these people, okay?
Well, there was
Not
Jesus.
call them names when they're trying. That guy was dishonest.
Jesus treated humble people a lot different than he treated arrogant.
Exactly. And when somebody is displaying, they're trying their best to understand, they may disagree. I don't get indignant. I get indignant when the people come up here, they're blatantly dishonest, they're evasive, they're deceptive, they start making false accusations.
Oh, and Paraduper, I just wanted to say something to Paraduper before he leaves. Or if you are you there, Paraduper?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so I just had an interaction with J Mike, and you helped. Well, Darth obviously helped with saying that premise one is like self-authenticating, right? But then you pointed out, remember, I wrote down what you said about it's a loaded question when they ask for an argument for premise one, because they're saying that like arguments are possible without reference to God, and that like something outside the ultimate can verify the ultimate, like as if there's uncreated states of affairs to justify the created states of affairs. So I completely smoked him on that, and I owe you thanks to that one. So that was really good. Thank you.
Oh, good. Is that recorded? I'd love to listen.
I asked for the recording, so we'll see. He actually got. Then he tried to go, well, how do you know God's not evil? And then I pointed out the contradiction in the ultimate being evil, because evil is like like dependent. The ultimate can't, you know. And
J. Mike is an intellectual train wreck.
but he got pissed off, and it was funny because he got so mad that I outsmarted him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'd love to see the recording. Was this today?
Yeah, it just happened. I asked for the recording, so if I get it, I'll try to get it to you.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get it.
We'll see.
I asked Cheddarson for the recording, and he wouldn't give it to me.
Oh, can I make a comment on your last dialogue there, Darth? For anyone who might be confused in the audience, when Darth asks the gentleman whether the fact he asserts, the propositions he asserts, references God, Darth is not asking him whether if God is the sub terms of that they're derived and dependent upon God. That's what's meant by referenced in that question. For example, when a Christian talks about anything, if a Christian says, I'm low on milk in my refrigerator, and they assert that state of affairs in the Christian's thinking will be a created state of affairs that will reference God as its ultimate precondition. It derives and depends upon God.
Are you writing something, Darth?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just sanding down a little rough edge. I got a new camera cover. There's a little edge on. I was using a little piece of sandpaper on it. Sorry about that.
Darth, did you get my message about?
I'm sorry. I just got a new camera cover I found on Etsy. Great product, cheap, excellent. You can find great stuff on Etsy. Sorry, go ahead, Parakeet.
Oh, I was just asking if you got my message about the mod who was requesting your library.
Where did you send me the message? Here or Discord?
On TikTok.
I didn't see it yet. The guy who looks like the funny little Martian with a big head. Welcome, Dum Dum.
Hello, Dum Dum. I hope you're doing well, sir. I hope everyone's doing well.
For the moment, but one of these days, my time will be up.
Yes, young man. I'm one of the few people you interact with that I can actually call you a young man. I get a kick out of that.
And I have to return the compliment that you're one of the few people that I can refer to as an old geezer.
Yes, and it's a badge of honor. I just want to say I only have a minute.
You should say what the Wizard of Oz says. Silence, whippersnapper!
Wow, that goes way back, doesn't it?
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to say.
Did you know Nancy Pelosi was in the movie?
No.
Yes, yeah. She was little known, but she was the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, the Wicked Witch of the West. Uh-huh. Yeah, I got it. And your doggy too, your little doggy too.
Yeah. Grandma Vaca just broke her hip.
Hey, I just want to say to PMARS, I was on your live for, oh my goodness, it was between an hour and a half today. I didn't request up, but I was just kind of monitoring. And I see a pattern more and more that, and I'm more and more embarrassed about fellow atheists who interact with you. It's embarrassing, but because of the really obnoxious and weird things that they come up with. But I notice a pattern also that it seems to me that of late that more and more Christians will come up and accuse you of not being Christian enough, or your tactics, or things like this, that they're going to pray for you and you need to change your ways and things like that. And I was thinking, what, is it my imagination, or is this it just seems to me that there's more and more of that.
I think I've always noticed that. So that's just I think that I kind of get a kick out of those people. And honestly, like, I mean, it's like, I feel the same. You know, when you see atheists being ridiculous, it's like embarrassing. I'm kind of embarrassed when like a lot of Christians say like, if I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of Christians that say embarrassing things too. So it kind of goes both ways, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Just from my personal point of view, is more. I guess more. I'm just more tuned into embarrassing things that atheists will come up as arguments, or not even understand the basic science or laws of logic or anything. Is like
Yeah. Sometimes
it
they'll
just
just like when they don't know what to say, they'll say anything just to win the argument. So they end up saying like really ridiculous things.
there's a couple of times actually that I thought, okay, P. Mars, just go ahead and kick this guy or this gal, but you were kind of really patient on a couple of them, even more than they deserve. Let's put it that way. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back down again, and I just want to say hello, and I want to say congratulations on that was really quite astounding for about an hour to an hour and a half earlier today.
Thanks for listening, man. I appreciate your input.
So can I ask you a personal question?
Me, yeah, sure, anytime
Can you be ruthlessly honest?
I can.
In November, I think it was what, 22nd, 1963. Were you anywhere within the vicinity of the book depository in Dealey Plaza?
It's kind of strange because one of my earliest childhood memories was I was watching TV and everybody was in parade, and I saw the
Nice.
horses and
Yeah.
the
Hey,
flag.
listen, nice cover story, nice dodge. Notice the fake laugh, everybody. Notice that he
Oh, you
refused
got
to
me.
answer the question.
Yeah, you got me. Okay, it's time for me to run now. Thank you, Darth. I appreciate you.
That's what they
All
were
right.
for.
Take care, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love it.
Welcome, Tyrant.
Gazoo's great.
Hello.
Yeah. Do you accept God as your creator?
Nope.
Do you deny God's existence?
Yep.
Can you tell me why there's no God?
Can you tell me why there's no
That's a
Santa Claus?
dodge. That's strike one. You get 2 more strikes of dodging. Tell me why there's no God.
Tell me why there's no Santa Claus? Or
Strike 2. Strike 2. Okay, that's a dodge. And that Santa Claus is a typical teenage reaction. We have good reasons to believe Santa Claus does not exist. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you have a good reason to believe God doesn't exist?
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
J.K. Rowling wrote really good books that were very convincing.
How old are you?
38.
Okay. Bringing up books that don't even claim to be historical, or even bringing up books that
The Bible does not claim to be historical.
May I finish, please? Okay. Criticizing certain religious literature that references God doesn't get you to a logically and necessary conclusion that God does not exist. So let's try it again. Can you tell me why there's no God?
Okay, there's a problem here, and I want you to follow me in
The
this.
problem is if you don't answer my question,
I'm
and stop
trying to.
dodging,
Can you let me
no,
talk?
you're not. Didn't I already flag you twice? I gave you 2 strikes for dodging.
I mean, you asked me a question.
Do
I'm going
you
to try
have
to talk, but then
amnesia?
you're
Do
talking
you
over
have
me. So, do you want me to
amnesia?
talk or don't
Do
you?
you? Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, numbnuts.
Oh my god, Darth kicked himself again. Darth, you kicked yourself.
No, that's okay. You see this, and you know what?
Joe Biden moment.
Yeah, well, I'm not looking. Looking at the screen carefully, and I don't have my reading glasses on. So once again, we have these 30 and 40 somethings, little boys, teenagers trapped in adult bodies, coming up here and bickering with us like school children. He dodges, right, and then he goes into verbal disruption mode.
After multiple dodges,
times
he
like
acts
this,
like
I
you're
feel
the
like
bad
a
guy.
Christian. At times like this, I feel like a Christian Sebastian Maniscalco and saying, "Aren't you people embarrassed?" Jish, stop lying. He most certainly did dodge. He dodged multiple times.
I made this meme tonight, Darth.
Hey, Darth.
Do you accept God as your creator?
Negative.
Do you deny God's existence?
100%.
Can you tell me why there's no God?
Because the Bible was made by a man.
Oh my God, you people are so effing stupid. Okay?
In what way?
Even if that were true, number one, you couldn't ground that proposition. Even if you could ground the proposition, it still wouldn't logically follow that God doesn't exist. So let's try this again. Tell me why there's no God.
Can you elaborate on what you just said?
Goodbye. Here we go. They cannot help themselves by pathologically stalling, dodging, and delaying. Okay?
That would be like if I
Yo, where'd
said,
that guy go? You give him the boot?
Yeah, get rid of your background noise.
I was gonna ask him why he does.
Yeah, we're not doing with the background noise, sorry. Yeah, if you taunt or antagonize in the text, you're going to get instantly muted without further warning.
yeah, putting aside when he says that the Bible is fictional, that's just a reassertion that the Christian God doesn't exist. But putting that aside, that would be like if I said, there's some fictional book about aliens, someone wrote a fictional book, therefore aliens don't exist.
Yeah,
Right.
because Star Wars is fictional, therefore there's no aliens or no life on other planets. Not that we believe in aliens, you know.
I'm just using that line of reasoning.
Yeah,
I've been using.
they're so, and you know what's sad? If what they were saying were coming out of the mouth of a 16-year-old, we could chalk it up to their youth and stupidity. But these are 30 and 40 and 50 something people saying this stupid ass stuff.
So lately I've been using this argument I heard from Darth when they go, oh, you're just appealing to the Bible. I'll say, well, so you're saying the Bible's not the authority? So what authority are you appealing to say the Bible's not the authority? Is that just like prejudicial conjecture or what?
Well, so yeah, of course I'm going to appeal to my authority. And when you object to that, you're either explicitly or implicitly invoking your authority, which is human reason. Human reason to the exclusion of the divine mind and how he reveals it.
Lucas, if you've been kicked, stop requesting up.
Yeah, stop requesting up or you're going to get blocked.
I was listening to Jay Dyer, and he said something about without inherent meaning in the world, there's no meaningful agents. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, I like what Van Til says.
Mhm.
Okay. If you reject that God is and that he reveals himself clearly, unambiguously in creation, you're rejecting that everything that you come into contact with are creaturely and that they are emblematic and indicative of ultimate design. Then they are then staking out that these are brute facts. They're simply not aware of the predicament that they're in when they verbalize rejection that the world reveals God, because now the world is a brute fact. And if it's a brute fact, it's completely and utterly uninterpretable. Why? It's because there's no identifiable ultimate single causal first principle. Let's go ahead.
A brute fact by definition would be like an uninterpreted fact. That's like what it would
be.
Yeah.
Now, people who oppose us online or come up on stage will typically be calling things brute facts in a different kind of definition. But a brute fact is simply something stated to exist without any ultimate contextualization. Okay? Therefore, it has the human mind cannot impose the intelligibility and interpretation of it that would depend on its ontological state.
So this woman, this TikTok live streamer, she had like $1,000 if you prove God exists, right? Which obviously I'm not expecting that, but anyways,
Yeah.
I go on there and I
Is she the one with the piercing in her lip?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, another rockets. Yeah, I think she works for she works for SpaceX.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super genius. So I brought this up. I tried to like make it simple for her because I wasn't, you know what I mean? I didn't think she knew much about metaphysics, obviously. So I said,
she's just one of hundreds of dopes who get on TikTok.
So I was thinking about like what Jay Dyer said, and I'm thinking like look, there's either like God and there's meaning in the world inherently because God put the meaning there, or there's no meaning in the world and our minds just impose meaning on the world. And she agreed with that, right? She agrees with this. And then she starts later talking about how truth is that which comports to reality. And I go, but wait a minute. You say that we impose the meaning on reality. So therefore that truth is just anything we make it to be. We just create, humans just
this doesn't make any sense whatever. How does the human mind impose?
Right, but I was just trying to use her, obviously, but I'm just trying to use her own logic against her, right?
Well, I stopped and watched for about a minute, and then I just left and went on because I discerned that she was just fundamentally stupid.
This is what I say, right? Like you're saying we impose meaning on the world with our minds, and truth is that which comports to reality, which apparently we just impose upon the world, right?
Truth is what comports to an absolutizing an abstract statement.
So I said humans construct truth, therefore I'm just going to say, like, I've just decided God's true. Give me $1,000. And I go, you'll be hearing from my lawyer. And then I left.
Oh, boy.
Because I got her to basically admit we just make up truth, right?
Did you talk with somebody named Venus on Discord?
It was on TikTok. Her name was, the other Venus?
I'm talking about Venus from
Clubhouse.
No, well,
I remember
possibly. Yeah,
Venus from Clubhouse.
He sounds like a vampire.
It's like a transgender Norwegian person.
Oh no, that's another Venus.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure the person you're talking about.
Welcome, Big. Do you deny the existence of God?
Yes.
Can you tell me why?
Yeah, I believe that pro-total evils contradict with God, and because of this, I think we have good reason to believe.
Oh God, here we go again with another pseudo intellectual with philosophy speak, bro. Okay, so what is evil?
Well, yeah, I mean, you could take pretty much any like normative view on this.
Okay, dude, listen to me.
Yeah,
do you want to get kicked and banned?
Why would I get kicked?
Stop with your pre-memorized philosophy speak nomenclature, okay? Because you're not going to boulder dash me, okay? I'm too old and experienced, okay? I have a basic understanding of philosophy, okay? So stop with the vocabulary dropping, like name dropping, because you're not impressing anybody, okay? I want you to explain to me in plain English what is evil.
Sure. So under my view, I would just say that something is evil if it's the case that it violates some maxim and it does not surpass some threshold of positive utility.
It violates a maxim. Is a maxim a human conventionality, or is it an objective standard that is extrinsic to the human mind?
I'm agnostic on metaethics currently.
Okay, then you're screwed. Then all you're just simply saying is something is evil in virtue of something I don't know.
Wait, just to clarify.
Do you realize?
Wait, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Listen to me. You're not going to be able to gibber. Okay, have a nice day. You're done.
Strawmanning me. Why are you strawmanning me?
Yeah. You see, they are pathological liars. Strawmanning? Not in the least.
I think I've seen that person argue for God too. So I think they're just like they just want to debate people.
They're like a flat earther just trying to jerk people around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and notice the philosoph-speak vocabulary dropping.
Speaking of flat earther, that's just like Q-Top, right? He was running your argument, and then he makes the account Q-Top atheist.
Wow.
And he was arguing for atheism.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a shorter and shorter toleration with people who are disingenuous. I don't impugn or indict people as being disingenuous and tired, simply because they vigorously disagree. But I have enough experience in debating people over 14 years. It's easy for me to discern. They won't focus on what's being presented. They pretend like they're answering. Then they go onto a rabbit trail, segueing, and in this case, philosoph-speak dropping. Okay, they're wasting my time. Yeah, notice whenever they say "I take it that," that's usually a red flag. Okay, I take it that.
Take it that.
Notice he said it's a violation of a maxim. Okay, so then I said, is that maxim simply a human conventionality, or is that maxim indicative of an absolute external to human minds? Oh, I'm agnostic to that. Oh, okay. So evil is that which is inconsistent with I don't know. And then he accused me of strawmanning him, which was a lie.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that Q-Top was such a fruitcake, but I have him blocked.
Yeah. He's one of those people that's like will say anything in a debate. He was running your argument for a while, and he was so terrible at it. He just kept going like, "How can you be certain of anything?"
Well, look. Unless you're a committed Bible-believing Christian, right, and you're actually trying to study, this stuff, okay, understanding the philosophical, metaphysical implications, ramifications of what the Bible says. Trying to mimic what I'm saying is going to fail. You have to be on your own personal, spiritual, biblical journey as a Christian, where you're learning the philosophical ramifications of what the Bible says. If you're not doing that, trying to parrot what I'm saying is going to fail miserably.
Oh, by the way, thanks Dark Elf and Julie for the gifts. Thanks for the likes, everyone.
While we're waiting, we pause for this station identification. If you've never tried cat tongue as a non-stick, non-slippery tape for the back of your phone case, today is the day to try it. Cat tongue, the non-stick tape, semi-permanent, easy to remove for the back of your phone, and it will not slip out of your hand. And back to our regularly scheduled broadcasting.
It felt really good to own J Mike, man.
You know what? I'm very happy that you did that because the guy is a jackass.
He really is.
I mean, just a total asshat.
I love just like Parakeet and you have a good way of like cutting through the bullshit and getting straight to the point. It's really good at that.
Well, look, it's not that we're indicting people as spewing bullshit because we don't agree or don't like what they say. That's not the issue. The issue is the actual content is bullshit. It's either not focused, not substantive, or it doesn't hold up upon a quick examination.
It's like
just like this guy right there. Oh, well, evil. He starts talking about proto whatever bullshit about proto evils. I mean, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Like,
who
who
are you trying to bamboozle?
It's a rock in a bottomless ocean. So all these like modern philosophers, they're like goofy because they're saying like, here accept all these like axioms, and then we'll build upon that our smarty pants like system.
Well, when you talk with people who are philosophers, okay, people who've gotten through very hard work, a PhD in philosophy, okay, as much as we might disagree with them or be opposed to their model of reality, right? They don't talk like this because they know what they've accomplished. They don't have to speak in philosopho nomenclature dropping.
They should know their limitations, like if you're studied.
You should watch Magnum Force. Okay, have you ever seen Dirty Harry?
I think that's maybe like a little bit.
Dirty Harry is about a Clint Eastwood playing a cop who uses, how shall we say, non-traditional practices. Yeah, well, that's the third or fourth movie, but both Dirty Harry and its sequel, Magnum Force, which was as good, if not better, than the first movie. And first movies are great. In the movie, there's a recurring line where it says, "A man just has to know his limitations." And if you watch the movie, please watch the movie. You will laugh so hard every time you hear the character say, "A man just has to know his limitations." All right, I'm getting in a new phone case on Monday. Looking forward to that. It's the Rebel Flex, so that should be fun.
Rebel.
No, it's a new case manufacturer, and it's a unique design where it's a very it's a highly protective case, and one permutation of the case is what is called the Flex, and it doesn't have side panels. So it's like you're holding a naked phone. But the corners are very well protected and the back is very well protected. So it's like it's almost like holding a naked phone. It's called the Rebel. The phone Rebel is the name of the manufacturer.
Like a bikini or something.
And it's called, and yeah, there's different. There's the Flex, and then there's the version where they have sidewalls on it, which is a nice case too. I've used that. Highly protective, but not bulky. Some highly protective cases are very bulky, you know. Because I've dropped my phone, on parking lots before, and if it wasn't for my protective case, the phone would have been damaged. The OtterBox Defender is a great protective case, but
oh my god,
it's just too bulky.
I'm creepy because I said it's like a bikini. Come on, man.
Oh, please. Yeah, you're creepy, whoever wrote that, for even bringing that up.
Yeah, you're projecting your creepiness.
Yeah. That's one thing we also learn when we go online. We come across an unimaginable amount of people that are they're just warped and twisted in terms of their intellect, their morals, their reasoning.
It's really bizarre. They think it's okay to just lie and debate their fantasies and yada yada yada.
You see, that's because they're used to carrying. Look, it's stagnate to stalemate. They're so accustomed to dealing with low-hanging fruit. Your average person out there who believes in God, because of they're not interested. Okay, without, trying to fault your average God believer or Christian, because they're not interested in engaging in the intellectual fisticuffs. These atheists think that they have debate prowess by invoking these cliches. I mean, say, okay, oh my goodness, Well, I don't think he's that fat anymore. I think he's
No, he's not. This is a little bit of a propaganda. It's funnier. It's funnier if he looks heavier. The joke works better. So
Matt Dillahunty, it's a little bit cut off on the left-hand side. Matt Dillahunty, famous skeptic of salad.
Yep, that's what it says. It's a little cut off. Okay.
I mean, he's the Prince asshat. He makes J Mike look mild in comparison. Matt, if you want to come up here, if you have the balls to criticize me, come on up. I don't think you do. Okay, so I'm gonna mute you, Matt.
Yeah, I figure like if they know, if all they think is there is the material world, you think they would take better care of their like physical body, you know.
Welcome, Rin or Randy, whatever your name is.
Rainadi.
Do you deny God's existence?
No. I think I'm agnostic. Sorry for my bad English.
What country are you from?
Canada.
Well, then, what's your mother tongue, your native mother language?
Yes, I'm from Canada, but I'm from Quebec, so my first language is French.
Oh, it's French. Oh, okay. I was trying to place your accent, and now I get it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just reading an article. It was either today or yesterday, that there are literally thousands of euthanasias going on in Canada every year. It's unbelievable.
Thousand of what?
Thousands of what? Of euthanasia.
Oh,
euthanasia is putting people to death.
Like the elderly or like the sick or something,
or even people who have mental problems who want to end their lives. But
yes,
we should talk about them, No, it just goes to show you how far gone so many people in Canada are.
Yes, but do you not think that it's fair that people can decide if they want to die or not?
No, I don't think that people have the prerogative of deciding to self-schmurder themselves.
Yep, God is the arbiter of who lives and who unalives.
Yeah.
So I think I want to debate the second point. Christianity
You
is
know why?
no.
You know why this is happening? Do you have any idea why the euthanasia movement has spread in Europe and now it's infected Canada? It's because of the spread of atheism and materialism,
antinatalism. People.
Yeah, and man, yeah. After a generation of killing the unborn,
in the name of science, right?
Yeah. So you see now that probably maybe half the population of Canada, if not more, just like in the United States, we have a good plurality who believe it's okay to kill the unborn, and this stuff doesn't happen by accident. It happens because people start adopting a materialistic worldview. Man is not made in God's image. God is not looking over our shoulders. We're not going to stand before God on Judgment Day. Man is the master of his fate and the king of the ship. And this is why it's going on.
Yes. So you're pro-life?
This is not progress. This is evil. And this is why Canada is in the forefront of certain alphabet soup agendas. If you catch my drift, I would say more, but I don't want to get banned by TikTok.
Oh, you mean what people call the gay agenda?
Much broader than that.
Let's avoid any.
Yeah, we're going to avoid that anyway. We're trying to look to talk with people who are unbelievers. Thanks for coming.
Not really. So his background, he says like it's like what young Earth creationism. He took the God thing out. there's like young Earth creationism. What else is there? Like people who don't believe in evolution, flat Earth, and
You
then
know what? You know what? He's an absolute fraud.
in the last
Uh,
so I go up there and I go, "What's all this I hear about the Big Bang? Is that an LGBTQ thing?" And he started laughing, Darth, hysterically, and then I just left. Yeah.
yeah, he's a fool. He has a
Well, like,
grossly overinflated opinion of himself.
I don't really want to debate science, so it's not really my.
Look. The guy is really cocky. He's arrogant. And if he really has intellectual superiority over my positions, why is it that he completely evades having an intelligent conversation with me, either on his platform or mine?
He's like
Of the encounters that we've had, both on his platform, I've gone into his territory. Right? He's come onto my territory, but he acted like a complete asshat and a maniac when he came onto my stream.
He's like trying to be like some TikTok.
So why behave that way when you have the intellectual high ground? Why?
Dude, he gave up. He used to have like God exists on his
Matt, you're muted. Okay.
Planet Peterson slurms. He used
Matt's constantly trolling.
I went on his panel and made that joke about the Big Bang, and then but he used to have the God exists on his list of topics, and he took that off because of pre-supper.
I was using the what is the name of this? Is it the Spigen? I think it's the Spigen case, and it's got a built-in rear camera cover. It's a nice case. It's not too bulky, very protective, but I'm also using the Apple silicone case with cat tongue non-stip tape on the back. You know, both are nice cases.
You know, I've had people ask me how much money you give me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Darth?
Oh, look at that. Cartesian is trying to come up again under the ARC account.
Darth, can you hear me? Hello, Darth. I don't think Darth can hear me.
What a pervert.
Can you guys hear me in the audience?
Yeah, I like OtterBox. What do you have? My first case was the OtterBox Defender, and I got it because I was a little bit, I don't want to use the word paranoid. I'll say nervous about, dropping such an expensive phone because I had the high-end model. And it's incredibly great protective case. But,
Darth,
now that I'm fully accustomed to holding my phone, I don't need something that bulky.
Your ears don't work, old man? You can't hear anything? I'm talking to you.
Yeah, Cartesian, you're not coming up.
I'm talking to you, old man.
Welcome, YK. Do you accept or do you deny God's existence?
I deny it.
Hello?
I deny God's existence.
He doesn't know that he can't hear any people. Well, your ears don't work.
Okay,
you need to go get your hearing aid checked.
No, the buttons. Sometimes when I accidentally hit the
well, I was making fun of you while you couldn't hear, so.
Oh, that's okay. I guess we're not friends anymore.
That's all right.
So, YK, do you deny God's existence? Your microphone is muted. Oh, what is it with these people? They can't unmute their microphones. All right.
Wait. Oh, we can actually send them an invite to unmute.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, Cartesian, stop sending an invite. Yeah, notice he says he's not Cartesian, but his Cartesian is in his name.
I want to not have you banned, Cartesian. So could you please chill? He's just
You shouldn't engage with him because you are. Let me tell you why. Let me just give you my opinion.
Sure.
You should not engage with somebody like this, where you have repeated and chronic evidence that he is purposely being deceptive.
But here's the thing.
once it's clear, yeah, go ahead.
The non-believers can't stand the way he acts, and so when he starts making a mistake, don't interrupt him. You ever heard that?
I agree with you, but once people like this filth, this ilk, makes it abundantly clear that they're absolutely committed to being deceptive and evasive with their verbal tactics, not just vigorously disagreeing. You shouldn't honor them as though they're a dignified enough person to talk to. You should just write them off. I mean, it's just, look, these people will waste your time. They don't care. They're shameless.
Yeah, but again, they're being consistent because they have no standards. So.
You should make we should make a public skeptical of some of these people like this and publicly shame them, saying, because you're so committed to being deceitful, I'm not going to talk with you.
This guy's like afraid. Like, I don't know. I think he just wants to talk to you because you're famous. Like, I think he's like afraid to talk to me.
Look, he's a punk ass dumbass.
He is.
Okay, and look, been there, done that. Okay, I've been talking with atheists and unbelievers for 14 years. I don't want you wasting my time with your dumbassery, philosophy, mental gymnastics, nomenclature dropping, thinking that you're fooling me. You're not. You're just, look, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to be mean. You're wasting my time.
When I watch a lot of these live streams, it's like the amount of sophistry I see, right? It's like what passes.
It's actually, and I'm not trying to be funny, it's mentally painful listening to how much stupidity is out there. Right. They're so dumb.
So like that's kind of what I wanted my live to be about, is like humiliating people like that. So that's why
Well, I don't disagree with that. I just feel that there's a certain class of individuals that has made it perfectly clear to you and me and others that they're committed to using vocabulary, language, nomenclature, and verbal dodging, evasion.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I mean, I agree with you.
I think that type of conduct is every much as disgusting, if not more disgusting, than we have adults who are illegally and immorally doing things to underage children. Right? I think it's even more disgusting than that, because these people are just violating.
You're not gonna take that out of context. You know how they do that.
Yeah. Netflix, welcome. Do you deny the existence of God?
Okay, so first I want to start this off by clarifying.
First, you're going to answer my question, and you're not going to dodge again, and I'm going to kick you.
You're not dodging a question, dude. Do you know how to have a respectful conversation?
Bye. You are when just right out of your mouth when you say I'm not dodging. Yeah, you are dodging. That's the second time you dodged.
What Darth is saying, can I clarify that so I don't want people to like. What Darth is saying is that if we lived in a society where there wasn't this like social rule that we
social contract that we would be truthful with each other.
Social construct,
yeah. It would just undermine civilization.
Exactly.
I'm not minimizing people physically mistreating children. Not minimizing that at all. I'm just saying people actively engaging in basic deceit, insult, and interaction is undermining one of the basic glues that makes civilization civilized.
Imagine if every time you went to buy something, the cashier could lie to you about the cost and then just pocket the money.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not coming up again, Netflix. Well, the God of the Bible alone in the annals of human history and contemporarily has a property set that is exclusive. No other worldview can have it or will have it. and it's indispensable for actuality, truth, reason, intelligibility. If you do not accept God's revelation of himself in creation and the propositional content that he's given through the prophets, through Jesus Christ, codified in the Bible, then you will be staking out a worldview counterclaim, which you're going to have to explain. But there's not going to be any world for you to speak of, because however you invoke or talk about the world, it will ultimately be shrouded in mystery. Yeah, go ahead.
I kept asking J Mike, what is identifiable and defendable that is ultimate? What is identifiable and defendable? And
what did the super genius say?
You think he prevaricated?
In all caps,
with 3 exclamation points.
Yeah, he's a vile person. Welcome, Mr. Jones. Do you deny the existence of God?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me why there's no God?
Well, yeah, I haven't really been convinced that there's a God, thus I don't really want to.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Mistake number 1. Okay, you've now baited and switched between making a proposition about the world that is external or extrinsic to your mental state to now representing the proposition that God does not exist, to now talking about your mental state. That's a bait and switch. I'm not interested per se in you recapitulating your mental state. I want you to explain to me why God does not exist.
Sure, the existence of pro-total evil is incompatible with God.
Oh, it's you again. Bye. You're done.
Bye, faggot. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. So did you notice how he called me that derogatory term? And so when he talks about what was that, pro what evil?
Pro Toto?
Pro Toto. Yeah, this is pre-memorized, okay?
I've had a guy came up today and he did this whole script about talking about Christianity for it was and then at the end he goes, I hate T's and G's, right? You know what I'm saying? So he was trying to make us seem as hateful people. And I said, I bet that's an atheist, right? And they're like, no, an atheist wouldn't use that language. But look what that guy just said. So there you go.
Oh, in spite of many atheists claiming they're pro the alphabet soup gang, in spite of their posturing, they're contemptuous of that group and their practices as well.
Yeah.
Like some of the Hollywood stars, they pretend like they're pro alphabet soup, but behind the scenes they talk derogatorily. I mean, look at Alec Baldwin. He's a prime case.
Minority groups will accuse other groups of being elitist, but then those groups will act elitist, right? So they're just all hypocrites.
Interestingly enough, Carl Sagan was a brilliant guy. Michio Kaku is pretty smart. Okay, as much as I disdain Neil deGrasse Tyson for his cockiness and his arrogance, he's a pretty smart guy. Interesting to listen to at times when he's not being cocky. But Bill Nye doesn't even hold a candle to these guys. He's just a popularizer out there.
He's an engineer, yeah, but he's just famous for his TV shows and
yeah. He has a bachelor's degree in engineering. He doesn't have
he still has this aura of science or something.
Yeah, he's another one who just. Did you ever see his interaction with Ken Ham at the Ark encounter?
No.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever heard the expression, if looks could kill?
See, all I know, I remember Bill Nye from when I was a kid watching his show. So
I never watched it, because, I'm a lot older than you are.
That was my generation, right?
What I want you to do is sometime, just for kicks, go watch the interaction between Bill Nye and Ken Ham where he visits the Ark encounter. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Bill Nye is so pissed off, and he has the look of Schmurder in his eyes when he's talking with Ken Ham. By the way, did you know Bill Nye's former wife? They were both married by Rick Warren, that clown, but his former wife tried to, according to news reports, allegedly poison his victory garden. In other words, not trying to kill off the fruits and vegetables, but that he would consume that stuff. Allegedly.
Really? That's
Allegedly. That's the reports that were given on the internet.
Yeah, a lot of these like science people, when they talk about God, they say like they might be geniuses at whatever their science is, but when they talk about God, they say goofy things.
No, they make elementary metaphysical and philosophical blunders. I mean, I enjoy listening to Carl Sagan when I see videos of him. I think he's a very informative guy, and I have the ability, because of my background study, to differentiate the slop crap of his materialism for when he's really just saying interesting scientific stuff. But I listen to him sometimes, and it's just like he's pretending it's science when it's not. It's just materialism. Have I heard about destiny? What about destiny? Did something wonderful happen to him? Or are you asking, we heard about him?
He's been making fun of Destiny for what happened to him in the news like last week with Nick Fuentes.
I don't know what happened.
There was a video released of him doing something with another man.
There's a video of Destiny doing something with another man?
You can imagine what they're doing. You know what I mean? So.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. It was really big.
So Destiny is a part of the the Alphabet Soup Brigade?
I mean, is that... Yeah? I mean, is that surprising?
Oh my God! No, I'm not surprised, but I'm laughing.
He's already admitted previously to be. Do you know what it is when a person watches their partner with another partner? He's already admitted to doing that and enjoying that. So he's. This isn't like that weird or anything when you're already doing something like that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Sexual immorality and promiscuity, fornication is rampant among atheism.
Yeah.
I am not the least bit surprised that he's an alphabet soup practicer.
He's been kind of getting exposed. I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos showing how he's just.
Look. The guy does not deserve in the least the notoriety. He's a whack job. He's not that smart. He's not that sophisticated.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos come out that show that he's just like a motor mouth with no substance, like the majority of the time.
I mean, he made himself look like a fool in his interaction with me. Welcome, Rez. Do you deny the existence of God?
Hey, how are you, Press Up? How are you, buddy?
You didn't answer the question. Do you deny the existence of God?
Don't ignore Darth is the host.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry, I thought Press Up was the host.
Darth is
Are you Canadian?
Why do you ask?
Okay, dodge one more time, and I'm going to kick you.
What do you mean dodge? This is my right to privacy.
Goodbye.
That is
so. Asking me what do I mean by dodge isn't the third dodge that you did.
They try to do this thing where they like, oh, why are you letting Darth take over your life?
Darth, thank you for coming, and I will say, well, thank you for having me, and I will drop down. Okay, he can say that. And look. P. Mars is a big boy. Okay, we're friends. We get along. We agree on most things, right? And at any times, if he thinks I'm being overbearing or talking too much, he can just simply say, Darth, thanks for coming, right? And that's my cue, that my allotted time is up, which I'm perfectly fine with that.
But I consider you like a co-host, basically. So, like,
okay.
I just want.
No, but I'm just saying that still stands. I mean, I've said this to you many times. I'll say it again, right? And these people are idiots.
There was a time when I did for a week there. I said maybe chill for a week, because
well, see, look, modern day debate is an absolute cesspool. James Coombs.
I saw. Did you see? Alex O'Connor was on there recently. I saw. I was gonna go. He was arguing that what's his name, Kinch, Chris Kinch. I don't
know who that is.
Is it the banana guy?
I don't know.
I can't remember his name. Anyways, what were you gonna say? Sorry, you're talking about modern day debate. I interrupted you.
Yeah, I'm just saying the guy who runs it up, James Coombs. I think he's a professing Catholic. He's an absolute scumbag.
Oh, he is. Yeah,
he has. And I have myself to blame in part because he would get one troll after another, and he would keep on promising. And I begged and pleaded with him behind the scenes that when he would exercise some moderation, and when these people would behave like complete horses' asses, and I would complain on live and saying, "Why aren't you moderating?" He would just sit there with a blank, a feces-eating grin on his face.
Yep, I watched those debates. I watched the one Snake was right. I saw.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of Snake is right, with his little greasy long hair, he's come on camera a number of times recently, behaving in a very alphabet soup way. If you catch my drift, with lovely eyeshadow and mascara.
I remember one time I asked Darth, "Is like, why don't you do these more like formal debates?" But then when I watched, there are some examples of him doing that. It's like, it's kind of a waste of time because they just go like,
people ignore what I say, and then they
yada yada yada.
Yeah. And then when there's the interrogation period, it's such a short window of opportunity. They just run the clock out.
Exactly. And the host doesn't do anything about forcing them to answer Darth's question. So,
yeah, Rez, stop sending an invite, or we're going to block your account.
I like to call it like what Darth does is he speed runs. So in gaming, do you know what a speed run in gaming is?
Yes, yeah.
So Darth speed runs pre-sup. He just gets straight to the point and cuts through all the crap. And then people look at that as like a script, but you're just trying to avoid
No, look, I've been doing this for years. I'm tired of people wasting my time with their community college lectures and their balderdashing. Don't waste my time.
They think debate is their time to come up here and preach about whatever crap they think.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, they come up here. Not that I consider myself, a super genius on the topic. I know enough about the basics of philosophy, metaphysics, logic to be conversant. Are there stuff in those areas that I don't know? Absolutely. But I know enough to be conversant and able to defend the Christian worldview. But I'm not going to have people come up here thinking they're going to give me a community college lecture and that they're enlightening me about stuff. Okay, it's only been on rare instances that people have informed me about stuff that I don't already know.
The Cartesian guy, I was on like a panel, and he joined the panel, and he tried to do the community college lecture, and I just stopped him, and I'm like, dude, I'm not interested in this community college lecture.
Oh, Arctesian is not Cartesian. He just sounds like him, even though Cartesian isn't his name, right?
No, it is Cartesian. It is from Discord.
No, I know that, but I'm saying is Cartesian pretending to be Arctesian or whatever, however you say the name. Cartesian's in the name of Arctesian.
Oh yeah, that's why he's like that's the whole.
Yeah, and so, look, I had his number correct quite a while ago that he's a very deceitful and deceptive and evasive person while pretending not to be. Well, he just proved my point. Where he has another account with a slightly alteration of his main Cartesian name, and then he lied about being Cartesian. The guy is a pathological liar. He's very similar to that gruesome looking monkey boy.
Gruesome. Gruesome.
Well, have you seen him?
That's a good word.
Have you seen him?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe maybe that's what that's why he became an atheist. He's very upset.
Here's the thing about that, Darth. You had me convinced evolution wasn't true, right? But now I've seen him, so it's kind of hard to not believe in evolution.
Well, that's not to say that there aren't some arguments for evolution, and his looks certainly are befitting of common ancestry. So my guess is he became an atheist because every day he had to look in the mirror when he combed his hair, and he didn't like what he saw.
Okay, so evolution is false, but there are.
Let me tell you something funny. One of my best friends, who's a Christian for 40 years, and we've conversed, several times a week for over 40 years. We met in a Christian bookstore, and he was not familiar years ago with a lot of who these televangelists are. So from time to time, when these names are come up, like I'll refer to one televangelist, I called him the Gargoyle. And he goes, "Why do you call him the Gargoyle?" And I said, "Don't you know what he looks like?" He goes, "No." I go, "Well, look at your schedules and see when this television..."
We should probably not talk about people's looks so much. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm not mentioning anybody's name.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just paranoid about it.
Okay. No, that's fine. So he comes back to me, and I answer the phone, and he's just laughing and laughing and laughing. I go, "What's so funny?" He goes, "You're right. He does look like a gargoyle." Or one televangelist, a very famous televangelist, and his televangelist son, I referred to him as the mannequin. He goes, "Why do you call him mannequin?" I go, "Well, go turn on the cable TV and watch him."
Well, you got to give Monkey Boy credit. Like, he's self-aware, it seems, right? So.
He really.
You gotta give him credit for that, right? Like,
it seems like he's the defective genetic offspring of Jack Angstrom.
Yeah, he's kind of like.
But I know that that's not true, because I know, J.A. really can't woo women.
Well, he's sort of the apprentice of Jack, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He's
apprentice.
Is flying monkey.
The source is, yeah, he's a flying monkey,
Flying
all right.
monkey.
Yeah.
Flying monkey boy.
Mm-hmm.
They're like what they accuse me of being to you, basically.
By the way, folks, I really like my Apple silicone case. I think it's really nice. It's on the expensive side.
Are you getting money? You have to be getting money from Apple and Cat.
No. I like to pause for station identification and give a mini. I want to. They're not sponsors. Do it just commercial break. There might be some other good silicone cases, but Apple makes a good silicone case.
Think differently, everyone.
Think differently. Little do people know that's not grammatically correct.
You would say that.
Well, actually, I should correct. Isn't it? It's the ad campaign was "Think Different."
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah. But it was. They knew that it wasn't grammatically correct. Do you know what they used to say? And maybe we should start using this criticism. They used to accuse Steve Jobs in his marketing methodologies. And by the way, I'm not trying to be critical of Steve Jobs, but they said that he was the skilled promoter of the in spewing the reality distortion field. You know,
Okay.
where they would the products would be hyped up beyond what was realistic.
Expectations versus reality.
Yeah, the reality. I love it. The reality distortion field.
Hey Darth.
Field.
Hey Darth.
By the way, I'm a fan of Steve Jobs.
So when you say think different and it's grammatically incorrect, you're like that's like you're thinking differently, right? Because you're thinking differently, right? Because you're breaking the rules of grammar. Get it?
There you go. It's self-referential, you know. No, but you have to admit, Apple has had some really great ad campaigns in the past. Well, they have, interestingly enough, and by the way, even though I like Apple products, I think Apple is definitely deserving of a certain amount of ongoing criticism over the years. You know, they're not without. It's not like they're perfect or anything like that. I mean, like some of their memory upgrades is just it's almost price gouging. But they produce probably the greatest commercial of all time, which
we've got a new handheld internet device, a phone, and
oh no, that was the. I don't think that was a commercial. I think that was a clip from Steve Jobs' keynote speech introducing the iPhone.
Yeah,
I loved it when they showed it. When he was going to show it, and I remember I watched it live. They showed the. I don't know how many people know. They showed the iPod. The iPod was like a rectangular box, and it had like a circular dial on it, and then a little LCD screen. And he pretended to show the new iPhone, and it was an iPod with a circular phone dial that were back in the 1950s and 60s. Do you know that they have given dial phones?
Dave, you're
they've given dial phones to people that are under the age of like 25 or 20. They have no idea how to use the phone.
Yeah.
They don't know how. They don't even know what. They're so out of it. They don't even know that dial refers to putting your finger in the hole and then moving it in an arc.
Oh, what's it called, a rotary phone?
Yeah, the rotary phone, the dial. That's why when it says dial 4432, you know what I'm saying? It's referring to the rotary mechanism. It's a dial.
You remember those, and I'm 42.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big deal when they introduced the touch tone phones, when they went from a rotary dial to the push button. It was a big deal. I mean, now it's just like a joke, but the only reason why we have some of this stuff is because of the development of the technology to shrink electronics down to incredibly, unimaginably small sizes.
You know how they always accuse us of slavery of the Bible, Darth? So I've been making an argument that, do you know that the cobalt mines are child slave labor, and those are necessary for the cell phone? So I go, your cell phone causes child slave labor. And so I make it, I just do like a parody argument. It's kind of funny anyways.
Well, they're just so lacking in research. Okay, so why is it that Dr. Peter J. Williams, an eminent Christian scholar, written a scholarly paper on the nature of the Hebrew word that's translated slave in 20th century translation, says the word is neutral in terms of service toward anyone, and the only way to find out what it means is by the context.
I had a guy today, right, where I pointed that out. I go, look, in the original King James Version, there's no slave in these texts. And he goes, it says maid servant.
Yeah,
that was
a
his
servant.
Response. Exactly.
Yeah. No, look. This is a desperate. Look, they're very, very sloppy. Like when it says you can buy and sell, it says slaves. It means you can buy and sell servants. I mean, in other words, you can buy and sell contractual obligations for service. Okay, just like we can do it today. You know, you can buy and sell contractual obligations. Welcome, Dave.
Hi. Yeah.
Do you deny the existence of God, Dave?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me why there's no God?
Well, you and I and Press Up, we've debated before. I'm sure you don't remember. You debated.
Please stop dodging.
Tons of people.
Please answer the question.
No, I'm not gonna stop dodging. See, here's the thing.
Goodbye.
No, you're
banana
pathetic.
peel. Oh, watch out for the banana peel. Oh, he stepped on the banana
I'm
peel.
not gonna stop dodging.
Well, I tried to warn him. I just hope he didn't have a concussion from stepping on that banana peel.
At least he was honest about dodging.
Yeah, and I wanted to warn him about that banana peel.
He was honest about his dishonesty. You gotta give him that.
Yeah.
These people never cease to contradict themselves and own themselves every time they talk. Is that H?
Oh, look at that! I didn't check it. Remember Rez, who tried to come up here before? I didn't check his account. I had him blocked to begin with. Oh, what a coincidence!
Yeah, he seems kind of unhinged.
Hey, FA, you might want to check out on YouTube some of the mini documentaries they have on The Godfather. They're really great backstories on The Godfather. They're so good.
No one wants to defend. I thought.
Okay, so while we're waiting, I want people to either post in the text while we're waiting for some intelligent atheists. We might, die of old age first, but either post in the text or come up on stage and tell me if you have a really great phone case, okay? And no BSing, okay? I only want to hear really good phone cases. Mouse, MOUS, makes great phone cases, but they're ridiculously pricey.
You think you're gonna get great phone cases from these nut cases?
Probably. Then they're just, most of these people are too cheap, But I must say, I got this this Spigen case, and it's quite protective, and it has a built-in rear camera cover, and I got it on Amazon for half price. If I had ordered it from their main site, it would have been double the price. I think I paid like $24 for it, and half price. So. Yeah, Rez will not keep on sending requests, so I really suggest that you block him.
No. Doesn't really bother me though. Like,
smartish case. Any particular model of the smartish case that you're using? What is the easiest alleged Bible contradiction to refute? Oh, well, there's so many. Like when they say there's a contradiction between Judas hanging himself versus his body fell on the rocks.
You know what I was thinking? Whenever they talk about a Bible contradiction, they're saying that they have determined that the reconciliation arguments are invalid, right?
Well, they are. What they're doing is they're just capitalizing on people not knowing further background information. I mean, I heard Justin from the Deconstruction Zone just being totally incompetent when he cited John chapter 1, verse 28 and 29 about John the Baptist, right? The passage in John John is talking about, when he's speaking to the Pharisees in the past tense, referring to what had happened a number of weeks earlier. Okay? John is not talking about something that just immediately happened. So when we look at the various gospel accounts, John witnessed the Spirit descend as a dove on Jesus when he was baptized, and where the Lord says, "This is my beloved Son." And then from there, Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days. John 1, verse 28 and 29, is quoting John speaking in the past tense, referring back to what had happened a number of weeks earlier when he spoke to the Pharisees. But just as these other people are trying to interpret what.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at myself.
Okay. So, when we investigate, and you see what I don't know why these fools do this, because we have the power of Google to investigate this. Investigate these claims. Would you do me a favor and block Rez? He will not stop sending invite requests.
All right, I'll block him.
I don't get your cartoon
I
here.
tried to go to bat for you, Rez. Like, come on, man. Like, good lord, what's wrong with people?
Yeah, I do have power. Watch my power of the mute.
I made this meme tonight, Darth, where the zombies looking.
I don't get this. Brains.
The zombies looking for brains, and the guy's holding a sign that says "There is no God."
I thought that was a Kamala Harris supporter.
Man.
When they found out Trump was elected.
The thing is, I wonder how many of those were like faked because people are trying to go viral. It's such a weird world we live in.
You know what? I don't think so. I think these people are such morons that they just like going on camera. When I see certain people go on camera, I'm just like going, have you looked in the mirror?
The next day on TikTok, I went to a lot of lives and I typed in the chat like "Trump is king" and I got banned in a few places. So,
oh my gosh,
I like to rub salt. I'm not like a big Trump fan, but I like to rub salt in the wound. I guess there's something wrong with me. Oh well, I'll have to pray more. I don't know. I just get a kick when people get so upset over nothing. I think it's funny.
All right, I'm gonna take a break.
Am I muted? I was talking there. Yeah, I was just saying. I think it's funny when people get upset over nothing. But all right, yeah, it's getting late.
Yeah,
you're too old. This is way past your bedtime. He leaves. All right. Well, we got a lot of viewers, but no one's really wanted to debate. So, no one's debating me. Then there's not much content, right? But then if I go on the atheist panels, I get treated like a second-class citizen. They're like, oh, precepts back of the bus. Evidentialist front bus. That's what it'd be like. But that's all right. That's all right. That's the way life be. It ain't easy being precept. A big struggle. It's not a struggle to win debates. It's just a struggle to be taken seriously. That's the struggle. The precept way of life. No, I do not, way shower. I love women. Well, I guess I'll just end the live because not getting many requests here. So thanks, Wirtz. Yeah, you know what? I love debating atheists. So and I've tried to specialize, but I don't really debate other. I mean, I could debate Islam or Judaism or something like that or whatever religion, but like because tag would work on anything. But I've like specifically studied a lot about the perspective or the position of the from the atheist or agnostic because I think they're like the most smug and like arrogant people and they have this like overinflated value of science that's unrealistic and I don't know. I also think like if we make man the measure of all things in society, that's bad because men are, think about it, human beings are corrupt and sinful. So if we make men the measure of all things, when because that's what's just going to follow from denying God is man will be the measure, man will be the standard. Man is corrupt, so then you have a corrupt standard. There's evil people. Think about P. Diddy and Epstein. So, and they write, and it seems like there's a psychologist named Robert D. Hare who wrote a book about psychopaths, and he said psychopaths are like obsessed with power, and they rise like a lot of like doctors, because doctors tell people what to do all the time, or like police, any position of authority, politicians tend to be like psychopaths, CEOs, like people who tell people what to do. So psychopaths rise to the top of our society. This is the book Robert D. Hare Without Conscience. He was considered an expert on psychology, psychopaths at the time that he wrote that book. So like, if you think about that, we live in a like, people are corrupt. Where was I all going with this? Like, basically, we need God, right? Because we're corrupt, and so we need God, and you have to admit that, and you have to repent, and there's no other way. Those are straight facts. So, I mean, you can deny it all you want, but you will be reduced to an absurdity because the Bible says the fool denies God, right? The fool says there is no God in his heart. Welcome. This guy might connect, maybe.
Hello.
Welcome. What would you like to say?
Good evening. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. I am an atheist, right? And you are not?
Correct. I'm a Christian.
I used to be a Christian as well. I have since fallen out of the faith. Like a few years back, I'm an atheist now. And I feel like here saying that atheism is baseless and irrational is itself a baseless and irrational opinion.
No way, because atheism would be a position of ultimate mystery, which would reduce to like absurdity.
Can you, what's the word? Can you continue to explain your point here?
So ultimately, like truth would depend upon like the mind of man, and that means that truth would be like there would be no truth because if we disagree, I'm right and you're right because I can just decide what's true and you can just decide what's true. So we need an objective standard for truth, which means we need the mind of God to be the source of truth in the system, or else it'll be absurdity.
Well, that's great, and we need the mind of God, right? We need to have a creator. We need to have someone who started everything. We couldn't have come from nothing, right?
I don't make that argument. I just showed the absurdity.
I'm just giving an example here. It's absurd to have just our own opinions on stuff because we need a base of truth, right?
Yeah, if we deny God, there'd be no objective standard for truth.
There would be no objective standard for truth. But denying God is, I feel like, would be a more rational opinion rather than believing in God. You have faith that God exists, right?
I have objective proof God exists.
Show me one example of objective proof that there is a creator and a benevolent God that created the entire universe.
I just gave you a transcendental proof.
Give me one exact point that there is a creator, a benevolent creator, outside of human perception that controls our universe.
Yeah, so I can take any fact and show that like God's necessary for that fact.
Why would God be necessary for any fact?
Like to have a fact, you need identity over time.
Identity over time? Explain again. Explain more.
The whatever object, like a hockey stick, it stays a hockey stick. It doesn't turn into like a basketball.
Yep. That's called a state of matter.
So God in Christianity, God limits the state of existence of the hockey stick so it doesn't change into the basketball. So what in a godless model would limit the states of existence of the hockey stick so it doesn't change? And you would have to say, I don't know.
Without God, there would be still the same rules of matter, the same bonds that hold together our molecules, that hold together everything. Without a God, there's still the science. There's still science without God. There can be science in God. There can be no science, and there would be no God. But science
would admit
is constant.
Well, if you believe in science admits that we couldn't ultimately know what limits the hockey stick to be the hockey stick. That science would admit that. So do you know something science doesn't know?
What does science not know?
What limits the hockey stick so that it's a hockey stick? So do you know something science doesn't know?
I don't know anything that science doesn't know, other than what created everything.
Science admits that they don't know what limits the hockey stick.
Okay, yeah, we don't know what limits something to be
impossible.
Something.
Yeah, that would make it impossible to even like have a conversation. We have to know that to make sense of anything, because we believe that the hockey stick is limited. The identity state is limited over time, and so the only way that would make sense if God reveals himself as the thing that does that. You're saying there's no revelation, but you believe that the hockey stick identity has a limitation. That would just be an arbitrary belief, and therefore that would just collapse your whole system into absurdity.
Okay, I see your point here. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a really good point. Okay. Yeah, I accept that. That's a great point.
There we go. You just got precept.
Yeah. I'm not very educated in everything, but I know a lot. Okay. What else? Yeah. Christianity is objectively proven. How is Christianity objectively proven?
I just gave you the transcendental proof.
That is it. Okay. And science is impossible without God. So
I'm arguing that like God, what is ultimate? So the ultimate is that which explains everything in the system. I'm saying God is ultimate and he's revealed himself to us. But the problem is like science is going to say like the ultimate is a mystery, or philosophers are going to say that the ultimate is a mystery. So you're going to have the problem of ultimate mystery without knowing what is ultimate, and that's going to just destroy like truth and knowledge and science, and it makes all these things possible.
Not knowing the ultimate, as you say, is not going to destroy an ideology. I mean, the ideology of atheism and believing only in what you can see, as in science, has gone on for years and years, and we all know that we don't know what happened at the start. Scientists, atheists don't know what happened in the start, and our belief system is that we can't know what happened in the start. Therefore, we can't believe anything that says what happened at the start. I mean,
Yeah, but
a benevolent God outside of human perception is impossible to perceive because it is outside of human perception. Therefore, I can't believe in it.
It has to reveal itself to us. That's the only way we can know it, because we can't science our way to God. We can't reason our way to God.
You're correct.
So, but if we don't know God and He doesn't reveal Himself, then there would be no inherent meaning in the world. And then if there's no inherent meaning in the world, then all the meaning that we ascribe to reality is a fiction. It's like Harry Potter, and it makes our whole life a fantasy. So to have actual true meaning, for us to be true meaningful agents in reality, we have to accept God's revelation, or else you'll reduce to an absurdity where everything is, all meaning is illusory. And that's like a self-defeating position. You couldn't even debate from that position.
Well, it is, and I do believe that atheism is something hard to stand on, with Christianity having that all-powerful meaning in life, right? With atheism, you don't have that meaning as the same as you do with Christianity and other religions. But I feel like that feeling of not having that meaning for atheism is the same thing that pushes us to stay in reality. I mean, atheism says that there is no creator, there is no meaning to life, and we're all just a bunch of atoms floating around, and we're organisms, and nothing matters, right? But I feel like.
But you're talking to me like your words have meaning.
I mean, yeah, I feel like as a sentient organism, I have my own meaning, as in myself. I feel like every human being has their own meaning because they exist. They think.
That means when you unalive, the meaning goes away. So that means the meaning is transient and illusory. It's not real.
Pretty much, we're all a bunch of electrons and neutrons and protons.
Well, like, how are you debating if your words don't mean anything?
Well, how am I debating if my words don't mean anything?
This is the absurdity of your position. I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah, I understand. If my words mean nothing, then what is the point of debating? Well, damn. Okay. Okay, damn. Okay.
It's a skeptical argument. So that's why it's like the whole point is when you try to deny what I'm arguing, you end up assuming or contradicting yourself in some way.
Yeah.
What's up, Charlie?
How can you believe your words? Right. How can I believe my words?
Yeah, when you deny God, truth, like if you think about it, it really just becomes whatever humans say truth is. And that means truth is just like arbitrary or
that's not. Truth can never be arbitrary. Truth is objective. Constantly.
Sociology will prove that our culture shapes how we interpret evidence and reality, how we think. Like language shapes how you think. There's cultures that some people cry at funerals in cultures, and some cultures that people are silent at funerals. So it informs how you behave and your emotions. Like it's it puts this whole filter on reality, so you couldn't have any like objective knowledge of anything without God to have objective knowledge.
Well, yeah, but there is objective truth in the universe, no matter what culture you come from, no matter what religion you come from at all. I mean,
but only if there's a God. You're not getting this. When you're making you're reducing truth to like what it would be a human bias. It would be subject to human bias. We have to. The only way to avoid human bias.
Would the existence of atoms and protons and electrons be subject to human bias? I mean, I don't think that's.
Because
I don't think you can say that.
when we speak, we're talking about the world as if there's meaning in the world. Now, the meaning is going to be inherent and real, or the meaning is going to be illusory, and like the human mind is imposing the meaning on the world. Those are the only two options. That's a dichotomy, and you're choosing that. Oh,
I think I don't think that. I don't agree with that. I don't know how to say it here, but the universe is objective no matter how much you believe in anything else, but the universe is always objective, and the atoms always exist, electrons always exist, elements will exist beyond us. There is no way to say that that can't be objectively true no matter what. I mean, we think, therefore we are, therefore we know that our atoms exist, therefore we know that we exist as a bunch of elements.
the problem is you just kind of ignored what I said. Red Beetle, are you an atheist?
Do what now?
Are you a Christian, Red Beetle?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay, right on. But anyways, so
Good to meet you, Red Beetle.
You just kind of ignored my evidence there.
Yeah, but
you're just gonna ignore the evidence.
I feel like the evidence itself is not objectively true. I feel like saying that the fact that there is an illusory meaning to life doesn't suddenly discredit everything. I mean, there is always objective truth, no matter how much meaning there is. I mean, we're just a bunch of organisms on a rock. We're not any special than any other piece of rock or element in the rest of the universe. And it's all objective, no matter what. I mean, the creation of the universe, that is the big meaning, right? Like what created all of us, what started everything, is the objective, the big ultimate.
What I said. You're ignoring what I said, and you're just contradicting yourself.
And that meaning doesn't
Bye-bye.
drive any.
What would you like to say, Red Beetle?
Well, the Bible alone is the Word of God, the axiomatic starting point of Christianity. That's what presuppositional apologetics is based on, and that's something I don't know if you have ever been
I
taught.
wouldn't say it's like an axiom. I'd say it's self-authenticating. There's a difference. I'm being technical, but yeah.
An axiom is self-authenticating. It's autopistis.
An axiom would be self-evident. Self-authenticating would be different because we would say the ultimate grounds or explains itself and justifies itself. So it's
within the axiom of Scripture, it does self-authenticate.
Oh my gosh!
So it's an axiom.
It's self-attesting, not self. We wouldn't say it's self-authenticating, but not self-evident. It's different. It's a technical philosophical difference.
No, it's just that the term evidence is not being used in an empirical sense in the axiom of Scripture. It's being used in an analytical sense.
Dude, what are you talking about? No, it's God. So God is the standard of truth in Christianity, right? So the Bible is the word of God, and it's true in virtue of that it comes from God. So that's called self-authenticating. It wouldn't be like an axiom.
It is an axiom. You have to start somewhere.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's the authority. It's not an axiom. It's the ultimate. We're saying the Bible is ultimate.
Where did you get that information? To get that information from Scripture alone. That means that's your logical starting point.
Yes.
You just proved my point.
No, that's the whole point, is we can only know what's ultimate if it reveals itself, and the Christian God revealed itself in history as ultimate. And
that's right. The Bible alone is the Word of God.
Yeah, but it's not an axiom. It's called self-authentication.
No, it is the axiom. That's where you logically start.
No. What is wrong with you?
Well, you got to demonstrate that you start somewhere other than Scripture. If you would like to do so, start somewhere other than Scripture. If you would like to do so, go ahead.
It's not an axiom, though.
How do you know that?
I told you.
You didn't get that from Scripture.
It's God is ultimate. And
What do you mean by God?
Are you serious, dude?
Where are you getting your definition of God?
The ground of being, Scripture.
Okay, well, if you're going to Scripture to get your definition of God, that's the logical starting point. You just proved my point again. Sola Scriptura.
Dude, what is wrong with you?
It's called Calvinism. You've never heard of that?
That's what's wrong with you?
No, it's called the Bible alone is the Word of God. See, the presuppositional method you've been trained in is that which is followed by Cornelius Van Til and Greg Bonson, they're dialectical theologians. They're irrationalists. That's why you can't logically and rationally have a starting point to reason in a linear fashion. I'm giving you the presuppositional apologetic method from John Calvin, which was picked up by Gordon Clark later on in the 20th century.
Okay.
You understand that? There's a little difference there. So Clark proved that Van Til's transcendental argument for God's existence is incorrect because Van Til argued that God exists from the impossibility of the contrary. Clark points out that contraries, by definition, can both be wrong. Therefore, Van Til didn't understand logic, and his transcendental argument for God's existence is blasphemous.
Contraries can both be wrong.
That's right.
What does that mean?
You need to get a book on logic and read it, man. Because if you're going to argue apologetically, you need to have the basic.
Bye-bye. Oh my God. What's wrong? Where do they grow these people? He makes some absurd statement, and then like I ask him, "Yo, what the hell are you saying?" And he goes, "You need to read." Where do they grow these people? Yeah, I read this book. 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 You didn't read this book. I read this book. You don't know what you're talking about. I read this book. You didn't read this book. You don't know what you're talking about. I read the book. You didn't. Stop pretending. Faker. Fake, fake. Liar, fake. Hypocrite. Looks boring? Yeah. Reading is boring. Why do people learn about things? I never understood that. I just watch pornography. All day, pornography. What else you need? Presub, you are sorta a noob. Don't get upset. You'll get better. Thanks, John. I'm trying. I agree with you. Lucky for me, even a noob can wreck people like J Mike. So, the Christian apologist has nothing to fear in these atheists. They're total cowards. Rest assured, my brothers, the non-believers are cowards. They will prevaricate, obfuscate, bloviate. Prevaricate, obfuscate, bloviate. Because when you deny that God is the ultimate ground of being, self-contained, non-derivative, independent creator of everything, sustainer and securer of all ontologies, epistemologies, and ethics, then you're just a nihilistic, solipsist, hard determinist, piece of garbage. That's just what it is. All right, I guess it's getting late. I should go to bed. I'm not really tired though, but like no one's really wanted to debate. Christians just afraid of death. Well, Christians have hope of eternal life because Christ defeated death. So since Christians aren't determined to an inevitable destruction and we have hope, we have freedom, because without hope there's no freedom. So only Christians have freedom and hope because Jesus defeated death and we have a promise of eternal life. that's secured in Jesus. The lions in the Colosseum. What about when Nero burned Rome and blamed the Christians? That was a good one. You know what's funny, Charlie? The persecution of and oppression of the Christians backfired because through all the persecution, the Christian showed humility and love, and people respected the Christians, and they began to become sympathetic, and that's why Christianity took over Rome. It's through non-violent love for our fellow brothers and for God that we can change the world. What this guy did with the CEO of the healthcare worker, that's going to result in bad things for everyone if people do copycat things, especially. It'll result in a more highly controlled society. Nobody wants that. Freedom is good. But we can't live in a world where people are vigilante doing things like that. Well, Jesus will deal with all the healthcare CEOs on Judgment Day. It's not our job to get vengeance on people as Christians. Only God is permitted to have vengeance on other people. And we can't be mad or upset that God does things on God's timeline. We as humans, we want to judge God and say, God, why don't you do it on our timeline? But we have to be patient and have faith in God. And we are aware that there are a lot of evil demons running around on the earth. But he's going to fix this. Judgment Day is perish. That's it. You are either with Jesus or you are not. Get with Jesus. Like, what is the downside? I don't understand the resistance. It's literally the whole point of Christianity is like, what? Love God, love others, be humble, live a life of service, forgive other people. I mean, it's not that hard. It's nice. Does the Bible mention Neanderthals? I don't know. I accidentally invited someone. That was an accident. I accidentally invited you. I didn't mean to invite you.
All good, bro.
Yeah.
You can drop me down.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm scrolling through the chat, I accidentally hit the button. The Bible is not a source of facts. It's not even historical. It's fairy tale. Yeah. But when you see when I say the Bible's the authority and you say the Bible's not the authority, it's like what authority are you appealing to that's not the Bible? Is it just your opinion that the Bible's not the authority? That's the problem. Oh my gosh, my cat is like. Speaking of demons, my cat, pretty much a demon, confirmed. It's just like he's just like to destroy everything. He just complete insane. Cats are lucky they're cute. Yeah, their fathers are the devil for sure. He's like always knocking stuff over and destroying things. It's like what? What is wrong with you? They like making noise to annoy you when you're sleeping. Like what's up with that? He literally like has learned how to annoy me because they know that gets your attention. They're smart. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.